Hello, friends, and welcome into another of our weekly updates for this week, ending on Friday, October the 24th. It's the first time in a long time that we've come to you with a weekly update. So
Well, it's only been a couple weeks.
A couple of weeks, but a lot's happened over the last couple of weeks, specifically this week, John, at the North Carolina General Assembly building. If you haven't heard the news about several things that have happened, let's jump right into redistricting. There's been a lot of news on redistricting, and let's just walk through what it is and what it looks like and how it moves forward, John. There were significant changes or some changes made to North Carolina 1 and North Carolina 3, those U.S. House districts.
Right. These are congressional. This is the congressional map that we're talking about. And this was all brought about purportedly when California Governor Gavin Newsom declared that he was going to initiate redistricting of California's congressional districts and pick up at least 5 districts for the Democratic Party. And so a number of other states, based on that threat, decided that, hey, we're going to redistrict as well. Some to gain more Democratic seats in Congress, and it's got a very narrow margin right now. In some states like North Carolina to potentially pick up some additional Republican seats. So North Carolina has 14 seats in the United States House of Representatives, and currently we are represented by 10 Republicans and 4 Democrats. What this redistricting would do would be to take some Republican-leaning areas in U.S. House District 3 and trade those for some more Democratic-leaning areas currently in U.S. House District 1. And so it would make District 3 maybe a little bit more competitive, but not really for the Republicans. But it would definitely make U.S. House District 1 more competitive and leaning in favor of Republicans.
Yes.
And so the thought here is that with this map having been passed by the legislature, that House District 1 will likely go to a Republican. Currently, Democrat Don Davis is the member who resides in that seat in the U.S. House of Representatives.
So it was clear there was no veiled, they did not attempt to veil.
No.
This was done on a partisan basis, and courts have permitted that. Courts have said that that is allowed,
Sure.
or at least they've said it's allowed. The governor can't veto this.
Right.
So it was pretty much it moved through the process without the threat of the governor vetoing it.
Right, because the governor just does not have the authority under the Constitution to veto redistricting plans.
Yes.
However, there was a lot of discussion in both the Senate, where the bill initiated, and the State House. A lot of disgruntled Democrats,
Yes.
and that's understandable. But yeah, it was this initiative was put forth by the Republicans, and they stated pretty clearly it was partly in response to appeals from President Trump to help to bolster Republican seats in the U.S. House of Representatives.
Yes.
So no bones about that. As you said, there were not any really airs put on. It was just, we're going to do this from the Republican leadership in both the House and the Senate, and they did it.
Who runs for what seat, it remains to be seen. Of course, the filing deadline or the beginning of filing is in December, so we'll know more then. And certainly there is the threat of impending lawsuits here and litigation.
The fact that the governor doesn't have veto authority over redistricting does not mean that these maps and the legislation is insulated from legal challenges. And so we feel quite certain that there will be legal challenges to these maps, probably both in state courts and federal courts, but we'll see what happens with that.
Some great news out of the State House this week. They've moved to defund Planned Parenthood.
Yes.
Of course, the Senate did so earlier in September. The House has joined in that effort. Tell us more about what's happening there.
Well, this is a great move, and we really are grateful for the Senate acting first on this and then the House following suit in seeking to basically declassify Planned Parenthood as a recipient of Medicaid reimbursement dollars in North Carolina. And so basically this is just another effort to ensure that state taxpayer dollars are not going to support Planned Parenthood the abortion giant.
Yes. So it disenrolls state Medicaid dollars from being used at Planned Parenthood of America. And so a lot of debate during this argument surrounded the idea of the other services that Planned Parenthood provides and the potential for people not being able to get those services. I think it's worth mentioning, and we talked about this earlier today, I think it is worth mentioning that Planned Parenthood, in addition to the plethora of other services that they do provide,
or reportedly provide.
Reportedly provide, that's a good way of saying it, they do perform transgender services,
Right.
whether it's cross-sex hormones, puberty blockers, and the chemical drugs. They also provide physical and chemical abortions at many of their facilities. So I think it's an excellent step by the State House, in addition to previously the State Senate. And hopefully one of these two bills will get across the finish line, and we'll see what the governor does with it once it gets there.
Well, and this effort really was prompted by an effort in South Carolina
Yes.
and a legal challenge that came out of your home state in South Carolina, or where you
my
live.
former state. I'm
Former
home
state.
now,
And-
friends.
yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
But that basically, again, sought to de-enroll or disenroll Planned Parenthood as a Medicaid provider. And that was upheld by the courts, and then some state legislatures, including North Carolina, have used that as an initiative to get this into legislation. Hopefully, it will become statute in North Carolina, but we've got the situation now where the Senate has passed a version of its version of this
Yes.
over to the House. The House this week passed its version of this over to the Senate. The House has got to act on the Senate version, or the Senate's got to act on the House version in order to get the bill ratified, get it out of the General Assembly and sent to the governor for his consideration, which we anticipate that he would likely veto the bill, and it would come back to the General Assembly for an override
Yes.
vote in both chambers. So that's kind of this is not a done deal yet, but we are really appreciative, first of all, that both the state Senate and the state House have taken the initiative to pursue this very important measure, and we just want to encourage our legislators to get this ball over the goal line,
Yes.
to ratify this bill, get it to the governor, and if he chooses to veto it, then to override his veto. If he chooses to sign the bill, that would be wonderful, or to let the bill go into effect without a signature, that would be great as well. But this is an important measure that does need to become law in North Carolina, and so we do want to encourage our lawmakers to get this ultimately done. So, yeah.
Well, I'd ask you to join in praying with us that this gets done, and that we see a great way for children, preborn children in North Carolina, to be saved from the harms that Planned Parenthood is effectuating.
And postborn children
who
are
sure.
gender confused.
That's right.
And
Absolutely.
don't need to be taking drugs and having surgeries and other things done to their bodies that are irreversible and harmful. So
We'll keep you updated on this. The third mini budget, we still don't have a big budget.
Correct.
It appears that two bodies, the House and the Senate, are at an impasse. Negotiations continue? Question mark. I'm not sure. Regardless, the state has a third mini budget. We won't go into specifics, but there's some Helene relief, some ag updates, some education updates. I guess the big question now, the looming question is, will the state get a full budget at all?
Well, and some would argue that
we
they already have
yes,
one, because the
yes.
budget that was in place
Fair
this
point.
past fiscal year remains in place, and so we're not going to have a government shutdown,
shutdown
like the federal government faces. So that's a good thing, but all of the items that are always wrapped up in the budget, expansion items, things of that nature, are still very much on the table.
Yeah.
And so we don't know. We don't even know, although the legislature has defined specific days each month to come back into session until they come back for the short session in April.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know if they're going to come back in November or December even to meet again before the end of this year. So,
well, a statement was made from
up in the air.
A statement was made from the dais of the House yesterday by the Speaker, who said, "Don't plan on being here for the rest of the year."
Yeah.
So Don't know whether that's a negotiation tactic or taking them at face value. It remains to be seen. There is scheduled for November and December. We'll let you know what happens there. Speaking of great things that are happening in the state of North Carolina, we've had an amazing dinner, and we had an amazing time in Charlotte. It feels like it was last week. It was a couple of weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, October the 9th.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And our special guest, our keynote speaker, was Brant Hansen, Unoffendable. If you don't have the book, buy it wherever bestsellers are sold. An amazing book about what it means to live without anger, or at least processing that anger in a fruitful and productive way to better society for the cause of Jesus. Tell us about the dinner.
Tell us about that. Well, Brant is wonderful,
Yes.
and really talks about
Yes.
how we as Christians, as children of the King, and those who have been bought with a price,
Yes.
a precious price, our sins have been paid for, and we can live lives of joy, of fulfillment, and we don't have to get angry, even when that guy cuts you off on the highway.
Even though
which
you
is so
want to
frustrating.
sometimes.
Yes, that we can live unoffendable lives.
Yes.
Really a wonderful message. And Brant was gracious enough to agree to allow us to video his message, and that is available in a link under this video. Just want to encourage you to take the time to listen to that. His book is great, and we want to encourage you to get the book. But you can get kind of a preview of the book by watching Brant's keynote address at the Charlotte Dinner, which again is below the video here. So good stuff.
Got another dinner coming up in
We do.
Winston-Salem.
Yep.
Tell us more about Farr Curlin and what he's going to be talking about in November.
Well, Farr is an incredible individual. He is at Duke University. He's a palliative care physician. He also works with the seminary in medical ethics, is involved a lot on pro-life and biblical gender issues and things of that nature. And he is going to give just an incredible snapshot of where we are as a nation with respect to these important issues, what we need to be doing, how we need to be praying, and how we need to be acting in order to honor God in the way that we live our lives, especially as it relates to life and biblical sexuality and gender issues. So
Very
it's going to
good.
be really great, and a fun time of fellowship,
Yeah.
but a time of being challenged and inspired and encouraged to really live out our faith in the public square.
And it's going to be at a really cool venue this year. If you're in the Winston-Salem area, you're going to want to come. You can go to our website, ncfamily.org, to find out more information and register for the Winston-Salem dinner coming up in just a couple of weeks. John, we're nearing the end of the year, and of course, as a nonprofit, a lot of what we do is through the generous gifts and donations
Yes.
of those that are watching this right now. So thank you, and John wants to tell you a little bit more about how you can be a part.
A great opportunity.
Great opportunity.
Yes, and that is, if you happen to have funds invested in a donor-advised fund, there are $250 billion
With a B.
With a B, $250 billion sitting in donor-advised funds in the United States right now.
Wow.
And just think of the incredible good that could be done if those funds were put to good use. And a great use of those funds is here at the North Carolina Family Policy Council. So if you have resources in a donor-advised fund, and you prayerfully consider directing some of those resources to NC Family, we would be most appreciative. We're a great steward of those resources. And of course, those resources will go to a very worthy, honorable, and God-honoring
Objective.
objective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So we just want to encourage you to prayerfully consider giving support to the NC Family Policy Council through donor advised funds. You can also share gifts of stock and mutual funds, and just contact us at our office at ncfamily.org or at 919-807-0800. Just give us a call, and we'd be happy to provide some instruction on how you can do that. But we're so grateful for your support, for your partnership with us, and especially for your prayers.
Well, thank you for watching another one of our weekly updates. We're grateful for you and the support, not only financial, but your prayers for us. And we're just enjoying a beautiful day in front of the fireplace. On behalf of John, Mitch, and the rest of our team, including Anna Scott, right behind the camera, God bless you and have a great week.